Modern women are getting exactly what they asked for.
Daniel, light of my life, will you marry me? Daniel.
Sit down, okay?
Once you say yes and put the ring on my finger.
I don't want to answer you here like this.
I'm just giving you a temporary yes, and we'll talk about it later.
No.
That's 1 million views on YouTube.
Louis, put the phone away.
Vanessa, well, hang on, I'll get the check.
Get the check. 4 years, Daniel. What have you been doing all this time if you were just gonna say no? I'm a woman, Daniel. I'm a 28-year-old woman. This is what we do. Look at what I did for you tonight. Look how much I love you. Say yes too much. Everyone, my name is Vanessa Sanchez, and as of this moment, I am officially single. Google me if you're interested.
I'm the Googler.
For many years, men have been tricked into believing that women are some sort of reward just for being female. This has been highlighted more than ever before, especially in light of some philosophies that advocate for so-called women's empowerment. Men are becoming more and more tired of that, and they would rather choose an alternative road than follow unhelpful social norms. I'll talk about a few of the justifications they use to make you think that women are fantastic in all they do. Men in particular are being led to believe that women with baggage make for ideal romantic partners.
If someone's not asking me to hang out or not texting me, I love being like, well, if they wanted to, they would. Despite the fact that I'm wanting to and I'm not. Do you ever think about that? Do you ever think about that one?
Regardless of whether you identify as a man, you may have long since concluded that making excuses is unmanly and that you must put in the effort to achieve your goals. Your circumstances, history, or upbringing are irrelevant. You simply complete the task at hand.
This comment right here, I really don't think that he's speaking for all men, because I know that there will be somebody that steps up one day to be some sort of father figure for my child. It's also very, I'm very surprised that you felt comfortable actually typing this out and commenting on someone's video. It's just the wildest thing. You don't know my circumstances with my child, or his father. Yeah, that's basically it. So, hopefully he's not speaking for all men out there, but this was just really disappointing to see.
When she asked the question if a man would date a single mother, this is the response she has gotten from a lot of men. Of course she didn't like it, but almost everyone in that comment section was in agreement because they see no benefit in dating a single mother.
Except for your mother, the majority of women don't care about your troubles. Men must take it gradually and climb the success ladder one step at a time if they are to bear the burden of performance and output. Men who desire to excel in life rarely waste time on women instead of choosing to concentrate on their projects.
Based conservative reporter destroys OnlyFans girl live on camera, and it is...
What about Twitch? So a girl that's streaming on Twitch, she's not and she's getting donations for hanging out with people, then what are your thoughts on that?
Simps.
Yeah, I mean that. But
how is that different if I'm not naked on OnlyFans on my live?
I mean, people who watch my show, they're not watching me because they're lonely. They're watching because they want to watch political
Because you're
content.
hot.
No,
You're
actually,
still
I'm
making
a really good
connections with
investigative
No, I'm
reporter.
sure you're very
They
smart.
don't watch,
You're
and
a
I
very
have
good
been
arguer.
very careful to not have my job because of the way I look. But frankly, what you just said right there, I think is a perfect reflection of the OnlyFans mindset. I know you were half kidding when you said that, but that shows you that you've commodified me into the reason that I have my job is because of how
I'm
I
not
look.
saying
I have my
because of
job
your-
because I'm actually extremely well educated and I'm a very good investigative reporter.
yeah.
But from the OnlyFans mindset, you would only think that I have my job because of the way I look, because that's all you're valued for.
You can't handle the truth!
In fact, many guys are so dedicated to their craft that women are no longer relevant to them, which is a very good strategy. Another belief that society accepts but does not consider is that women can obtain any entitlements they desire, even if they do not merit them or have put as much effort into earning them as men have.
As a woman, I'm going to tell you what we are not attracted to. If a man can't text you good morning, you're gone.
The worst text to send a girl. The morning text.
The good morning and the good night text give girls the ick.
Clearly, we have some mixed messaging going on here. And even in this clip here, you have other women commenting, saying, oh man, these are the women you want to avoid. They're just broken. And yeah, all those good men that women are so curious as to where they went, check your messages. They're probably texting you good morning.
It's almost as if women's entitlement is systematically promoted by society, giving free licenses to women to expect everything to be handed over to them without having to work for it in any way. The only qualification needed for this is that the person has to be female, and all of society will completely ensure their full support. So now we have dating coaches telling women to only split the bill if their feminine energy tells them to. Wow, I think the general rule of thumb is that if you ask someone out, you pay for the date. But if you are going to do something else, like split the bill, that should be discussed tactfully before the date begins. Arguing over a bill makes the guy seem cheap and petty. It's not a good look. So, my recommendation is that the guy pays for the date, unless she insists on splitting the bill. But then, he shouldn't take her on overly expensive dates, buy her expensive gifts, etc. If a woman insists on those things, it's a huge red flag. The first date should be a coffee date. If you don't drink coffee, it can be some other inexpensive beverage. Or it can be something like a walk on the beach, etc. The idea is to have a short, inexpensive date. This allows you to learn enough about her to determine if she deserves a second date. Then you can step things up a little with each additional date she earns. Don't be a cheapskate, but don't lead with your wallet either. That's just a good way to be taken advantage of.
Men are punching women in the face. Men are constantly assaulting people and...
Now let's make this statement correct. Some men are doing that. Some.
This world that we live in, an unsafe, uncivilized place because of them. And
for some odd reason, they keep leaving out that very crucial word, some.
I don't care if people say it's controversial. Honestly, I think that we should restrict and monitor the movement of men.
So, advocating for restricting the movement of half of the world's entire population because of the actions of some. How logical.
I feel like if you're a man and you want to leave your house, you should have to apply for a permit. You should have to state your business, where you're going, what time you're coming back, everything.
I'm not sure I have enough coffee for this.
Honestly, you can't exist in society. You guys just don't know how to. It's awful. It's awful for us to exist with you, just so you know.
Now, for those that actually agree with those sentiments, I want you to take something into consideration for a moment. Just imagine if we started treating every individual demographic in the same way in which some of the minority members of each of those specific groups behaved. How good would the world be then?
The fact that women feel entitled might be understandable from some aspects, but the fact that they feel too entitled, which means they feel entitled just because that's how it is the topic of discussion and debate here. And it is even more so because society has jumped on the woke feminist bandwagon that calls for equality in every aspect of life, and yet continues to support women to feel entitled to everything a man does, earns, and produces, is just perplexing, to say the least.
What happened to men pursuing girls?
Are we really asking this question?
When was the pivotal moment that a man chose to not go after a girl anymore and put in any effort?
I don't think there was a pivotal moment. However, there's been lots of little moments that have added up to a large awakening of a lot of men in regards to whether or not it's worth it to chase women.
Seems like guys can just put the bare minimum and not even really put in effort anymore. They don't really care to.
Well, what's considered to be the bare minimum seems to change on a daily basis, so how can anyone truly know what the bare minimum even is?
They're like, why don't girls just go and make the first move and make the effort?
That's an excellent question. Indeed. Why don't they?
Did it become a thing? Now it's like role reversal where they expect girls to be making the first moves, yearning for a guy and chasing him.
I imagine that happened somewhere around the same time that a lot of women were indicating to men that they want them to leave them alone. So, in a lot of cases, they got exactly what they asked for.
That is, I feel like, the downfall of why it's so hard to meet someone, because men don't put in effort anymore and don't care to put in effort.
But why should they? When the possible benefits of pursuing a woman are often far outweighed by the risks that they undertake in pursuing those same women. It's honestly just not worth it for a lot of men to pursue women, especially when so many women want to be seen as independent and left alone.
Women need to understand the contradiction in their lives between expecting everything to be taken care of on the one hand and carrying signs calling for equality while marching through the streets on the other. But one thing is certain. Modern women's main weapon against men is manipulation. They have been accustomed to it since they were teenagers and will keep using it till they pass away. They will attempt to manipulate your feelings to get what they want because, as we all know, they believe they are entitled to it. They'll try to persuade you to do things like give them gifts, agree to let them see other people, move closer to where they work, and accept whatever it is they want you to believe. There is no end to it. Also, it commonly works on frail males. We all know that they are primarily after one thing, and because of this, they will tolerate abuse for that one thing alone. As a result, they unwittingly or actively fall for women's manipulative strategies. Consequently, men should stay away from such women who they are aware will take advantage of them and manipulate them to satisfy the expectations they feel entitled to. Why do you think modern women feel entitled? Have you ever questioned why so many women feel entitled in general? Men are supposed to do everything for them, even in the so-called age of equity and equality that we live in today. It almost seems as though they believe they have a right to certain things from men. I mean, it begins with the very first exchange and interaction. When a guy and a girl see each other and like what they see, it's the man who's supposed to approach the woman. The man is supposed to think of a way to get her attention, while she plays hard to get it. She expects the man to approach her and expects him to come with compliments, gifts, a boat full of attention, desire, and lust for her. Then, the guy is meant to ask her out on a date. The guy is expected to plan the ideal date, make all the necessary arrangements, book the reservation, and then make sure he has a comfortable vehicle to pick her up and chauffeur her around. The man is then expected to cover the cost of the date. The man is responsible for covering the cost of the beverages, presents, and other expenses. He will be viewed as a miserly coward who wants a woman to pay if he dares to ask if she may split the tab. After they've been on the date, it's the guy who's supposed to make the move and give her the first kiss. It's the guy who's supposed to make the move in bed and lead her, while the girl still plays hard to get, and yet expects to be treated like royalty. Men are expected to take the lead, plain and simple. Somewhere along the line, I think everyone must have thought about why women always expect everything to be done by the man. I mean, even in long-term relationships, the guy is supposed to do the tough housework and provide for the entire family. Where did the woke feminists go now? What happened to equality, right? Throughout their lives, men are supposed to do everything for women and literally dedicate their lives to providing for, protecting, and helping women. And you know what? Men do that with honor. They do it proudly because that's in their nature. I'm talking about high-value men, not a simp who starts crying if he gets rejected by a girl. But the question is, why is it that women expect everything from a man, especially when all they can do now is talk about equality and how men have oppressed them and controlled them? Modern women have indeed become too entitled. I applaud you for making one of the best choices you could ever make if you are not considering dating anytime soon. More than anything else, stories about a happy wife and happy life have ruined men. You can do two things when reality hits you in the face. Either you deal with it, or you cry about it. The latter is preferred by MGTOW males since they don't like to impose their opinions on others, let alone employ social engineering to influence women or other men. Even if a lot of people can't believe that you can make decisions that don't violate anyone's rights since they are so irrational. Try as you might, you can't waste time persuading them of anything. Leave them alone and focus on surrounding yourself with positive influences. Why do I even say this at all? Because one of the greatest obstacles for contemporary males to overcome to achieve in the world today is social engineering. The system encourages men to be passive and placid, to pay their taxes, and to accept less than they are entitled to. This explains why the body positivity movement is so popular right now. A male who has the same health problems as a woman cannot be featured on the cover of a magazine. In reality, it would be mocked. I won't say that women will accept any male if I know that their nature is hypergamy. I'm not into promoting promiscuity in any manner, even though certain modern women may be promiscuous, and you can simply convince them to come to your place. Thanks for watching Man Reacts. Show us your love and support by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the channel. Support us and help us spread support for men around the world. Do comment and share your thoughts. We're always up for a healthy debate and discussion.